I have always enjoyed sitting around a bonfire, whether it's on a camping trip in a tent back in the woods, or maybe a church retreat where you've got a lot of people at the back of a retreat center and you've got this big bonfire going. And of course, it's even better when you have a hot dog on the end of a long stick, or better yet, a marshmallow with the chocolate bars on the side and the crackers so you can make s'mores. Oh man, that's good stuff. But there's just something about a bonfire that is relaxing and almost hypnotic. You can just sit there and enjoy that fire, looking at it as the wood is crackling and popping, and you just enjoy sitting around talking to people. But one of the things I've noticed about sitting around a campfire is that if I sit around one for an hour or a couple of hours chatting with friends and cooking food, the hot dogs and the s'mores, that when I come away, if I've got on a jacket the next day, I can smell the fire on that jacket. And that's just how things go. If you sit around a bonfire, the smoke is going to come, and eventually if you sit around it long enough, you will smell like the smoke from the fire. And that's actually a good illustration of our life in the world, because we are surrounded all the time with influences that are not good influences. And it is far too easy for those influences to change the way we think and to lead us to do things that really are not the right kinds of things. And so I wanted to point out today some great verses from the Bible that help protect us from following those ways of the world, from just giving in to the wrong thinking. And it is, again, so easy, because when we're surrounded by it, when it is the majority that is following these ways that are not God's ways, it is so easy for us to begin following that same way, the same thinking, and we end up doing things that we would have never guessed we would do. But as we have been looking in the Bible and looking at the very practical things that the Bible does for us to help us live good lives and apply that to the way we live, I wanted to point out one that I learned long ago, and it is still very precious and very helpful to me. It's from Psalm 119, verses 9 and 11. And here's what it says: "How can a young man keep his way pure? By keeping your word. I have treasured your word in my heart so that I may not sin against you." Now that's in the Christian Standard Bible. If you read that in the English Standard Version, it will say, "I have stored up your word in my heart." Or if you read it in the New Living Translation, it'll say, "I have hidden your word in my heart." And the idea is that we spend time reading the Bible, looking into it, and understanding, as we've been talking about for quite a long time, it's not just human wisdom, it's not something that we have come up with in our own mind, but it is literally a message from God. It is His Word. And when I spend time learning it, and especially putting it into my mind and into my heart, which is through memorization, through study, that when I am faced with a situation where there's a decision to be made, and I think through that decision, it's amazing how God's Word, God's truth will come back, because I have been spending time with it. I have been learning it and putting it into my heart. So that's exactly what these verses are talking to, that when we are surrounded by so many things that would pull us away from the right kind of living, how can we keep our life pure? How can we keep our life right? By hiding God's Word in our heart. When it comes and it is in our mind, it's in our life, and it helps us to make those right decisions. So the next time that you are at a bonfire, think about what I said, that smell of smoke, if you're around it long enough, will soak into your clothing, and you're going to smell like smoke. Are you allowing the world to seep into your thinking, or are you hiding God's Word in your heart today? Thank you for joining me.